Montana Sarah, I'm so delighted to spend some time with you this evening just to talk about the amazing Time Together campaign that Women in Sport have launched just this week. So we wanted to just explore with you some of your journeys in sports, and there will be absolutely a spotlight on netball, because I know you're absolutely brilliant at that sport and really passionate about it. But I thought the first question would be really just to start with both of your journeys into sport so far, and how was it for you?
I think ever since I can remember, I just remember my mum playing netball on the weekend. I remember I actually really used to enjoy, she used to play nearby, and if it was raining, I used to sit in this bin bag with everyone's coats. I used to love it and just watch. And I just know, like, sport's always been a huge part of my life, just from watching my mum play netball. And that's always been the thing to do on the weekend, is play sport in some way. And that kind of trickled down like into going to school and, you know, going to high school, and even like to now. I still feel like it's something that's really, really valuable to still be doing. And on the weekend, I still am looking for that, kind of really wanting to get myself into playing sports again, because it is a time where you're putting your phone down, you're really checking out, and I think it's such an amazing way to actually spend your time and really be present. How did you get into sports? You've always been into sports, haven't you?
Well, mine actually started from school, if I can remember back that far. But then, so school, and then I was fortunate enough to work for a company where they also had a netball team. And then so I carried on after school. And when I had Montana, it was either playing netball and taking her with me in the pram, or not playing netball. So from pretty much 6 months old, she was sitting on the netball court on the sideline in her pram, come rain or shine. And she really has grown up with it. And I've literally always played. It's been my constant in life. And it's made me, like Montana says, you can't think about anything else. And it is really for you. And you can take time out and just really enjoy that teamwork, that, you know, together, playing together, laughing together. So it really is. I mean, for me, it's been such an important part of my life. And obviously having Montana, she was an important part of my life. So she had to integrate with that, because I wasn't prepared to give up netball. And actually that's really instilled a love of netball for her as well, which she, as she says, she loves to this day. And actually with her busy schedule, I think you really miss it sometimes when you don't get a chance.
I've joined this league. I'm so out of breath. I'm like, God, I really need to get back.
So it was part of your kind of schedule, almost your routine. It's really hard as a mum sometimes to find that time, isn't it? So what the inspiration of the sport is what kept you keeping that in your kind of routine. What sort of, how did you do that? What other suggestions would you give to parents and mums that often say, I'm just too busy, I can't fit it in?
Well, if they can fit in a coffee with a friend and a pram, they can fit in netball. So you just have to, your children have to fit in with you for that hour and a half. You know, why not? I mean, it's literally an hour and a half out of your life. And it makes you a better mum, a better person, because you've fulfilled something in yourself.
Doing something for yourself, aren't you?
And it's fit and it's healthy, and you feel so much better having done it. And you haven't lost that time with, okay, I only had, you know, have one daughter. If you've got 3 children, that might be more challenging. But I've got friends in netball who've got 3 or 4 children, and it's not easy, but it's doable. If you really want to do it, you can juggle.
Montana, it's almost the sentence of seeing is believing. You've had it all around you the entire time. So that's the piece that's, you know, you can't imagine life without sport, because you've seen it all the time through your mum. It's also a little bit like a role model, really.
I do distinctly remember, even like sometimes if I didn't want to go, when, you know, you get a bit older and you're like, oh Mum, why are you dragging me to netball again on the weekend? Can't I just, but then you get there, and then all of the other parents have their kids there. And then it's kind of as well really good socializing, because you're meeting new people, like you're just socializing with other kids, and everyone's just kind of running around being outdoors, playing stuck in the mud. Whereas now that just doesn't happen because people just end up sat on their phones. And I think it was such a healthier lifestyle when I was growing up, where I was never indoors ever. I was either like teaching myself to ride a bike, or, you know, wanting to play with my neighbours and go around and play in the garden, or I had a pogo stick at one point because I was just used to, I was so relentlessly trying to get myself up on this pogo stick. I probably spent outside.
But that's so much fun and it's so exciting. It doesn't always have to be sport as we know it. It can be trying out, even stick in the mud, as you said, is so much fun.
Yeah. It's a shame that it's really kind of digressed now and people don't see the value in playing sports anymore, because I've got some lifelong friends that I've made from playing netball just because we've played in the same sports teams since I was probably about 11. So it's another part of your life which isn't school, isn't work. You've got another prong of your life where you make lifelong friends.
And so when Montana changed schools, the netball was the link between leaving the previous school to the current school, because she had the same friends at her outside netball club.
Sports was definitely something that, even just getting put in different teams, like for rounders and for tennis and for netball, you'd get put with people that you weren't necessarily in the same friendship group as, but everyone used to crack on and just be nice to everybody because you were constantly mingling with different social groups. And it just meant that everybody was good friends with everybody and everyone was nice to everybody because you're all kind of connected and you're all on a team, like playing sports, and you want to win. So, and it's such a shame because I don't think that happens anymore. And I think people think they've got makeup on, so they don't want to get it sweaty, and they want to impress the boys and all of that kind of thing. But I still think it's very cool if you play sports, and I think it's integral for socialization. I think it's integral for healthy competition and for getting yourself outside of your comfort zone and just meeting new people and being able to, drop that ego and just be nice to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. You've touched on a bit there in terms of sort of what you look like as a teenager, and actually that's become really important for teenage girls.
I think people need to really understand, especially at a grassroots level, when you're talking about all the way from primary school, is that looks is just such a surface thing, and you won't get far just by having makeup on, and that's not important. And I think it's hammering that message home. The better you can get at that skill set for a specific sport, that's where your confidence should be growing. It shouldn't be, oh, do I look good after 60 minutes of netball? Probably not, but that's fine.
But when you played netball, and even, when I played netball, they were all shapes and sizes. It's having that confidence in on court, in your body ability that will grow the more and more you do it.
And so we've talked a lot about community, actually. So, team sports do bring community, don't they? Both when you're a teenager, but also, when you're a mum and in later life, Sarah, because you're now an umpire.
When I used to go and watch Montana play sports, it was great. It's the only way that I really developed a relationship with the parents, because we're all standing on the sidelines cheering on our children, and actually we really built some good friendships and relationships then, and I actually really miss that.
Mum still wants to get on the court with her bobble hat on the side of the court,
freezing, and
I say do it.
From a parent point of view, if you want to get more involved with your child and you want to get more involved with their their social and sports side of it, it's actually very social for the parents as well.
Yeah, and it keeps you going, doesn't it? That community of both parents and players makes you keep going back to that sport, and you're committed. It's part of feeling you're part of something, you belong somewhere, and that's really important with teams.
You have a commonality, you have a shared interest, whether it's yourself or your children, you have that shared interest.
And do you play netball together?
So when I was playing, which I'm not anymore, I'm just umpiring, but when I was playing, you used to come and play for Crossfields, didn't you? So she used to come on the court, and we obviously being the older generation, we think, I wish we could play like that still.
But the beauty of netball is, as well, is that you can just pick up a ball You can get, you know, a post in your back garden. You can throw a ball around. It's all the same skills, isn't it, that you can do in your back garden?
Well, it's you know, hand-eye coordination, isn't it? So, I mean, if you can catch a ball, throw a ball, get a ball through the net, you can pretty much do any ball-based sport.
Yeah.
So it's not just netball, although netball is great. But you know, it really and actually in lots of areas of your life, that kind of hand-eye coordination is actually really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you wanted to inspire more girls to be active, what would you say to them, both of you?
Get off YouTube. Get off Instagram and go. Stop living vicariously through other people and actually go and live your own life. Because I find I'm guilty of it as well. I sit on my sofa and half an hour goes by. I'm like, what have I done in this half an hour? I've just been watching people eating their breakfast, and like, I should be having my own breakfast. Like, I've now wasted half an hour. I should have been making my own breakfast. I guess, like, I think it's really good to just clear your head. And I think as you get older, you obviously value time where you're really living in the moment, and you're not able to do that because of work, because of stresses, because of just everyone's got their own personal things going on. So it's so important to have you time and do things that you used to be in love with. Like, the things that used to make you happy when you were a child, they will still make you happy now. So it's really important doing those things as you get older as well, because it does give you a sense of purpose, and it's a huge part of everyone's identity is hobbies and things that they like to do in their spare time. And I think so many of us, especially as women, we sometimes lose our identities to our children, or I don't have any children, by the way, like children, or, you know, relationships, because I think as women, we are natural nurturers. So our natural is to give everything to somebody else, whether that be kids, whether that be a partner. So I think often you can lose part of your identity, whereas I think having hobbies and sticking to them and making sure that you make time for yourself and make time to play netball, for example, in my instance, is actually really, really important, because it's a massive part of my identity, is that I love playing sports. Yes, like, my message would be just, you know, pinpoint the things that made you really happy as a child and do that. I think fall back in love with what used to make you happy.
Yeah. And share it with your mum. Go out and do it with your mum, because the important thing is actually persuade your mum to do that with you, because you both need time together.
My mum used to sit, like, she used to stand at the bottom of the garden, because we got a netball post, because I was goal attack, and she used to stand outside with me in the shivering cold weathers and like make sure that I was getting all my shots in, just feeding me the ball.
And marking her.
Oh yeah. Trying.
You couldn't resist.
From an adult point of view, I would say, having gone through COVID and not having been able to play netball or umpire netball for a period of time, it did make me realise how important it is, and not just on, you know, a team basis, but also from a keeping fit basis, a focus basis. And actually, once you've gone out and played netball, you know, your mental health, your physical health, you feel so much better. And it really gives you a focus to maintain a level of fitness, you know, at a certain age, that you wouldn't normally do. And it's been so important. Looking back now, having not had netball for a period of time, I realise how important it is to me, in so many, because it just has a knock-on effect of so many different parts of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I've loved talking to you. Some of the stories are fantastic. I love the parting piece of feeding a ball but defending at the same time, Sarah. I love that. Obviously, England Netball do a brilliant Back to Netball programme. So, you know, part of the inspiration here is to, you know, go to Women in Sport Time Together campaign, share what you're doing, inspire others to be part of it, and look up our partners such as the brilliant England Netball to do things.
And they do have netball for all levels. They have walking net. They have so many different levels of netball. So, you know, people shouldn't feel excluded. They can start at whatever level they feel comfortable with.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
All
Right.
right, thank you.
Lovely to speak to you.